Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Pinball Arcade. Last time we played No Good Gophers, which is not a table I particularly enjoyed. And next we're playing, I believe, Starship Troopers, which would be based off the movie, which eventually turned into a long-running parody movie series, although it seems like a lot of people did not realize that it was supposed to be a parody even in the first movie. This is the first movie-based table we've had since Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and none of the movie based shows have worked great. Because Twilight Zone and Star Trek are actually TV based, and Rescue 911 is TV based. Last Action Hero would have been movie based. Bram Stoker's Dracula would have been movie based. Addams Family, lots of people love that table. That's movie based, but also arguably a movie based on TV. Terminator 2 is movie based. Phantom of the Opera may be movie based, but I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't. And then when you start to go further back, I have been saying Taxi is based on the movie Taxi. I wouldn't be surprised actually, though, if Taxi is based on the TV series Taxi, which I had forgotten about. Um, and once you start going back really, really far, if any of these were based on movies, they would have been based on movies that I couldn't recognize from the 60s, 50s, 70s. But yeah, movies being limited to 2 hours then requires you to get very creative to turn that into a pinball table. We need soldiers. Let's hop in here. This is from Stern in 1997. Starship Troopers 1997 features a license from the popular film of the same name released in 1997. So at a certain point, there definitely was a thought that they were going to have arcade machines and pinball machines in arcades and movie theaters to get people hyped to go watch the movie. The timing on that would never really line up, and it's kind of a dumb idea in general. It would make a lot more sense to simply have a TV in modern time playing trailers of movies soon to come, or have the games come out a year later after a movie actually succeeds. That way you have some guaranteed on return. Starship Troopers as a video game would make more sense than even pinball, since it is just dumb first person shooting against bugs, or aliens that look like bugs. This was designed by Joe Balser and Joe Kaminkow. I'm not sure I've heard of Joe Balser before. This table conveys the style and feel of the movie with its vibrantly colored playfield, music from the movie, and custom speech. The gameplay features hardcore sci-fi action with 3 flippers, high-scoring nukem rounds, and a brain bug that pops up out of the playfield. Starship Troopers has appropriately been described as easy to play but hard to master. Now, you immediately have to kind of get into age appropriateness with Starship Troopers, because it is like parodying propaganda, which propaganda is easily misunderstood or ignore or not seen. So it can't be for little kids. Starship Troopers was notorious for the co-ed shower scene, which people make a big deal about, and certainly they made a big deal about in the movie. It is propagandizing a lot of violence and a lot of militaristic doctrine. So I don't know if I'd even really want an 18-year-old to watch Starship Troopers. This is a Sega game. It's labeled as Stern, but Stern bought Sega. You have a curved backboard here, and you can see in that it's important to point out that it was the humans that attacked the aliens first, and then the military uh, covered that up, and the military was actively trying to put the entire world in constant war to maintain its control and power. It dehumanizes people by not granting them citizenships or rights unless they join the military. It pushes 100% of the populace to work for the military. So there's just a lot of problems with Starship Troopers unless you actually are looking at it from the point that this is a parody, this is a warning, and it's kind of hard for some people to realize that. There's a lot of toys on this table. We've got a top lane that spells bug, and then bloody pop-up bumpers. Yeah, I really wouldn't even want an 18-year-old playing the table. You have this bug that seems to get pushed back. Seems to have one of those pushback mechanisms like Safecracker did, where you're going to have to hit that shot a lot, which is kind of nice because it's a slightly off center lane shot. If you do just hit a center lane shot, you're hitting some targets and then getting bounced into the pop-up bumpers, and those targets seem to be duplicated in other places, so maybe you don't have to actually hit all of the targets to light up everything. Let's see, there's seemingly 5 planets you're going to of different colors, and the different colors add a counter. So you're trying to hit the different colors to kill different bugs. You've got these toy cannons, which could have been real cannon launchers. Then you've got another bug. I'm not sure there really was a bug that was that color and looked that way in the movie, and I'm not sure there was really a bug that looked that way. Maybe there was a ship that looked that way, but sometimes these toys are just kind of whatever they can get close. It kind of feels like back there that this med or troop supply drop ship, whatever this is, might hold multi-balls ready for a multi-ball. Otherwise, I'm not really sure if this table has a multi-ball or how you would launch it. It's kind of simplistic. It's kind of weirdly colorful for the theme. Like the palette for Starship Troopers is mostly black with some orange, and we've got like red, green, yellow, blue. I believe I saw that this table actually was delayed, or the movie was delayed, so that might affect some of the weirdness here. You have this extra flipper, which we've seen that in one table before, and having an extra flipper there is not really helpful. And seemingly no upper playfield flipper. So yeah, not really a lot to see so far. I don't think Sega's tables in general are that great as far as table design, and that's probably why they in part got bought out by Stern. But also I would argue that Sega as a Japanese company really failed to do what a Japanese company could do best and learn from pachinko designs, where pachinko is just crazy and there's lots and lots of history there, and apply that to pinball, and learn from the cool Japan culture that would have been in the 90s, and make tables that would appeal to that fandom somewhat. I've seen homebrews for Dragon Ball pinball. I've seen homebrews for Ghost in the Shell pinballs. So there is enough fandom out there for at least one person out there to build their own table on those themes. Akira as a movie that came out was very well received, so it would make a lot of sense if they had tried to make an Akira themed table even 10 years after the fact. For our standard goals, we're going to score a ramp skill shot, score a recon combo, capture the brain bug, raise your rank, and earn an extra ball. We don't need to really look how to do that. Let's see. Let's see. There's a lot of color on this table, I can immediately see. Interesting. So if I want this shot, I have to use the right bump. So I have no idea why I would want to do that. That seems silly. And because of the way the flippers are, they are actually slightly off center, which then undoes the fact that the center lane shots aren't likely to drain down the center. There very possibly are some shots here where the ball will go straight down the slightly askewed center now. And I kind of just hate that in general, because if you're playing this in the real world, that means you would have to hold one arm a little bit closer to your chest while outstretching the other arm to press the button as to center your eyesight, or you don't center your eyesight and then the whole table feels wonky and off. Like, there's a reason why we haven't seen any other table ever do anything like this. Yeah, that's the last time I'm going to even use this flipper, unless there's something that you absolutely have to hit with that flipper, which I don't know how the game would even be able to tell which flipper hit the ball. I'm at 13 million, and I don't feel like I deserve to be at 13 million yet. Yeah, honestly, it would make a lot more sense to make an Earth Defense Force themed game if you're gonna fight giant bugs than it does Starship Troopers. Although, in all fairness, if this originally started as an Earth Defense Force game, then they probably would have gotten more name recognition with Starship Troopers in the West.
Today, we'll be attacking Segama Beach. This planet has 4 warriors, 7 poppers. Kill them all!
So you just have to count down.
Warning. Live fire assault range activated. Multi-ball engaged.
Multi-ball!
I like when a table yells multi-ball. I don't think the audio on this is particularly great. It would almost make sense to use the third flipper at this point while you're in multi-ball, but even in that case, I don't think I really would want to, because that would just be more random flipping. So what happens when I hit a light that's not lit up? Nothing, I imagine? And are we making any real progress towards a multi-ball again? Because that was a really easy multi-ball. And a really easy extra ball. The whole idea of psychics seems to not play any role in this table, and
We've got reinforcements.
and the idea of people having different positions in the military and seeing how they work at different ranks and in different fields of the military is pretty much forgotten too. It's just the foot soldiers, the infantry. I can't help but think that this is... Am I getting a multi-ball or not? That was slow. Super quiet. We should go into the menu and see if maybe there's some menu music supposed to be playing. I mean, I hear music playing, but that was fairly quiet. So there is a psychic test. So we can either hit the top scoop or the left shot, left hole. And seems like it's a hurry up shot. Yeah, I don't think I actually got the hurry up reward there. So, seemingly, you need to start another so for every area that you've completed, which apparently completing one area was really easy because I didn't even realize I had done it, you didn't get these nukem options. And if there's going to be a nukem bonus, which is, it's kind of like Marble Madness's Madness multi-balls, I assume. I feel like there should have been a big name, a big button, not name, like a big button to press to launch nukes.
Congratulations.
Which we've seen that on some tables. Deadpool has that. Has a big button where you can nuke.
One rule. Everyone fights, no one quits.
Alright, so we only got one actual goal accomplished, even though that felt like we had done a lot of stuff. So you immediately start in a mode when you start a game. You know, Starship Troopers is kind of like the opposite of Star Trek in a lot of ways. It's like, what if we made a dumb militaristic sci-fi show? But it wasn't Star Wars, so it wasn't rebels trying to defeat an evil empire. It was instead people working for the evil empire. And honestly, I feel like Starship Troopers as a story is kind of boring, so I probably would want to introduce a resistance, or I would have had the main characters of Starship Troopers realize that there was some fraud going on as far as the nature of the way the government is run, and set up a resistance and start for a long-running like trilogy of intrigue. You establish the characters, end up putting the characters on different sides. In a lot of ways, I think Starship Troopers is an example of a movie that probably spent all of its budget just on the visual effects, and should have spent a little bit more on its storyboarding and its writing first and foremost. Now, it is based off a book, although barely. We do know it's the same number of hits each time, so you could potentially get very, very good at hitting a long combo of shots. And I assume by the time you get to the final planet, you have to hit 9 of each of the shots. I don't know if I'd want to hear the screaming of dying bugs for very long. And the number of red flippers and standing targets are very low. So I imagine those shots are going to be very difficult to pull off. See, blues are also seemingly non-existent.
Level 4.
Shoot warrior. So they want me to do the out lanes there and the ramps, and I wasn't able to do it. This is too high scoring of a table. I think a table like this also highlights the problem of having a movie theme table. No Good Gophers in comparison is more attractive to me, even though I don't like golf or do any golfing or anything. At least it's not kind of just completely tied to whether or not you like Starship Troopers, which as a movie, don't really like it. It's not anything I hate with a passion or anything. It's just if you told me it was on, I wouldn't bother to sit and watch it. I never did all the way through. It looks incredibly dated, the first movie now, too. And knowing that there are several direct to Sci-Fi Channel sequels, you kind of know that the series did not grow and improve. And that happened even with the sequel. I'm not sure if Starship Troopers 2 even made it to theaters. Right. Okay, got a jackpot. So what do you do? Do we need a cross shot jackpot? That if there is a super jackpot and it's not accomplished by doing cross shots very fast. There's the brain bug. No kickback, no center peg. So it's just a big toy that pops up as a square. And whatever the brain bug is thinking of is several joke images. Yeah, I'm like 25 minutes into this table and I'm like, yeah, I'm not liking it. So I need to step back probably from the theme and think of the table design itself if this was a different theme. And I don't think that helps it any, because I think the table design is pretty bad too. Like, do I want a giant pushback that takes up a massive amount of space on the table? No. Do I want a giant pop-up bug that you just hit? Fine. I mean, that works as well as the Circus Voltaire pop-up bumper. Well, actually it doesn't, because the pop-up bumper in Circus Voltaire actually completed the triangle of pop-up bumpers and bounced the ball around a lot more, whereas hitting the brain bug on this table is just going to block a ramp. Seems to be a gate that catches the ball in the top lane when you shoot your skill shot, which I don't think I've accomplished the skill shot. It's nice on any table when you miss a ramp to have something count towards something, but it is weird on a table to have indicators and digits counting down the number of hits it wants you to do before you succeed, because almost every other scenario in pinball you're succeeding with every hit and you're just gaining score. I think I definitely would want bespoke modes, something very different for each planet instead of just more of the same. I hate that outlane drain. This is a table you'd have to nudge, I imagine.
Remember your training, and you will make it back alive.
I hate all the shout-outs from the movie. And it doesn't seem like we've got any call-outs as far as specific shots to make, because it doesn't really feel like there are that many shots. Like, it would make a lot of sense for this table to say aim for the hoppers, aim for the warriors, aim for the plasma, or aim for the blue, aim for the yellow, aim for the green. But the table doesn't say any of that. It just makes random nonsense sounds and bug sounds. And see, shooting up that multi-ball pushback to start multi-ball instead of locking balls, bounces the ball directly down the center. I suppose the part I didn't mention about Starship Troopers is that they make everybody serve in the military, and then they have 90% of them, or of the military, die before they finish their tour of duty, which helps them eliminate their overpopulation issue like crazy. And if you don't end up dead, you end up so disabled that you might as well wish you were dead. And these wars have been going on well before they had the bugs, aliens, as their enemy. Yeah, the game just went weirdly quiet there.
Remember your training, and you will make it back alive.
So, ramp skill shot. There are two official skill shots on this table, the lane skill shot and the ramp skill shot. Before a ball is launched, the U in bug will be flashing. When you launch the ball, a magnet stops the ball and drops it into the BUG rollover. Starship Trooper has a lane change feature allowing you to move its lit bug rollovers left or right by engaging the corresponding flippers. Completing bug rollover scores a lane shot. Completing a... Let's see. Completing flashing bug rollover scores a lane skill shot. Okay. But we're looking for a ramp skill shot. To complete a ramp skill shot, hold the left flipper before launching the ball. This will send the ball to the orbit, to the left flipper, and shoot that ramp. Okay, that explains why we haven't been able to do that. The recon award level can be advanced by 1 by scoring a recon combo. Shoot the left ramp and then the right ramp in any order, followed by the recon scoop to score.
Need soldiers.
Okay. Each shot into the arms nuke hole scores 100,000. By shooting the arms nuke hole 4 times, it advances your rank to squad leader. Okay. And then I did want to go over here in the sound option. And we'll turn up the menu music. And see if this table sounds any different when that's turned up. That is just bull. I get the idea of wanting to save yourself some space and not have the launch lane take up that much square footage and instead just have this long out lane on the right. I see that as a concept, but in practicality it works terribly. It means every single missed shot here there's your setup for a left lane ramp skill shot. It's totally not doable. Like, you have to hold this, hit this, bring this down, and I didn't hold it down long enough. Unlike Star Trek: The Next Generation as a table, you don't get to choose a mission, so you're going to have to go through each planet from left to right, and that has to be the case because the numbers just go up instead of each mission being different. Hit that, and then try and hit that. And it didn't succeed, but it was closer. Hit that, and then need 3 shots. I need to be able to hit the recon hole from the front with both flippers.
Starship Troopers!
Recon ready.
And almost got that. It's such a tight hole. I'm losing momentum because there's just kind of nothing to hit.
Recon ready.
I don't know if maybe I have to use that for the recon shot, actually. If I'm gonna try and hit it with the left flipper, I mean right flipper.
Get up, you maggot! No one quit!
See, that ball just fell straight down the center. Should have done that. Launch here. There we go. And I'll never attempt that skill shot again.
Today, we'll be attacking Degama Beach. 6 planet heads, 4 warriors, 7 poppers. Kill them all! Attack!
Recon level 5.
There is a problem here also with the numbers in that that's just not what the movie was. It was like thousands of warriors, like large swarms of bugs, which that's where the idea and the concept comes from. The idea that they're all so deadly that 4 alien bugs could take out thousands of troops and battalions of people is ridiculous, or at least it's not the movie they depicted.
Recon ready.
Darn it. So if you're gonna get that recon combo that lights up Starship Troopers, on top of it lighting up the recon.
Let's go.
These flippers are kind of shorter, it feels like. That at least that gap is wider.
Oh! Remember your training, and you will make it back alive.
40 minutes into this table, still not really enjoying it anymore.
Don't do your job, I'll shoot you.
Direct hit.
There's a scale issue there, really. It should be like 4,000 or 4 million bugs that you're killing, and then every time you hit it, you're killing 1 million bugs, which that would play more into the Starship Troopers parody ideas, that there would just be massive loss of life on both sides. That
Recon ready.
it's not below that, and then have the ball drain down the center. there is a possibility, certainly, that since this is a table I've never played before, I may just suck at it, and that is a self-fulfilling prophecy of me not liking it. But I would hope I'm a little bit more objective than that. If this was a table from the 60s and it had a bunch of different colors and it wanted you to hit the colors multiple times, I'd probably be a lot more generous as far as my evaluation on it. That this table does certainly kind of feel like one of those tables that is just more simplistic and has only a few targets to hit. That being said, I think Starship Troopers as a theme is actively working against it for me, and it probably for other people wouldn't do that. This is, I suppose, also problems with like tables like the Guns N' Roses, Led Zeppelin table. Like for me, I'm not really a fan of music in general, so it would be a different experience and a new experience for me to potentially play a Guns N' Roses table. And I might enjoy it, I might not. There's a Jurassic Park table, and depending on which Jurassic Park movies you like and which you don't, or whether you like any of them, I imagine would severely affect your enjoyment of a Jurassic Park table. Unless you just have a generic like for dinosaurs and you can overlook the Jurassic Park elements, which that might work too. Still trying to get that recon. Still trying to get the recon combo. And then still trying to raise the rank. So I should probably focus on hitting that sinkhole. So a far shot. Can I backhand into that shot? I don't think I can. I'm not sure I can even hit it with the right flipper at all. You probably have to be very lucky on that shot. Take note that the slingshots are also way in a different position because of this wide center shot. And you just hit the brain bug. Should have nudged. I'm not sure what actually brings the brain bugs up. But it sure feels like there should be a magnet in the brain bug, and that. This table might be a good argument to having even smaller lower playfields with more stuff going on.
Get up, you maggot! No one quit!
This is such a nudge table. There's just so many bad angles. There's a Sonic the Hedgehog in what he's thinking about because it's a Sega table.
Skymark and a new barrel class. Gonna grade out the system's outlying trend down to one
So
planet
one
at
of
a
the
time.
things in Starship Troopers, which I will say, is they do an interesting colorway to parody commercials and news announcements. It's a more mass media way of presenting information instead of just having people talk to each other and spout exposition, which actually was rather ingenious and nice. It wouldn't work for many movies, but it did for that movie. And we don't have any of that on this table. I feel like there should be breakaways to commercials and notifications. That would have opened up a realm to hire a voice actor to do specific call-outs and not just take dialogue directly from the movie, but add some dialogue. TT Games, the makers of Lego games, ran into a similar problem when they started using audio from movies to cover their movie parody Lego games. They did that around, I believe, the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit games, and it was just terrible because they did not use a single new line of dialogue, and so the game would just go really quiet in many scenarios, and then you'd get one horribly audio edited sound clip that's played. And before that point,
If you think you're psychic, maybe you are.
flip it left to change a card. There you go.
Would you like to know more?
So, is there some secret to knowing what card that was going to be, or was that literally just random?
Listen up.
That's a terrible video mode, though. It's just like nothing there. And there's no reason to make me select at all if you're gonna just randomly do that. See, I tried to use the little red flipper and got bit in the butt because of it.
Your mission is to capture the brain bug.
The brain bug must pop up after a number of pop-up bumpers shots.
Today we will be liberating Antilles. Destroy everything. Pull back.
Yeah, and that's why the alleyway and the launcher cannot be merged with the outlane. Right there, that ball knocked a different ball downward.
Get up, you maggot! Let's go! Starship Troopers!
Recon ready.
2 more shots for squad leader.
Listen up!
Recon level 4.
Still go!
Now, is this a multi-ball game mode? No. So instead, they just want me to hit the out ramps. Or they want me to start the multi-ball down the center shot. But you have to hit that fairly accurately. and that I don't think counted. So I'm in a mode that's messing with me. Is it the number of ramps that make the brain bug appear?
We get you, sir! Congratulations, recruit. You've
There we
been
go, we
promoted to
raised our
squad leader.
rank. So then the next shot would be to get that combo.
Here we are.
Hitting that from that angle is very difficult. All of a sudden I've locked it in perfectly though. Although hitting it from the other angle is also pretty difficult.
Your mission is to capture the brain bug. Capture the brain bug.
See, hitting the back of the brain bug doesn't seem to count.
Welcome to Prospect. Today, we'll be attacking the antenna. Reports indicate 6 warriors, 5 poppers, 3 plasma bugs. Kill them all!
So that's more of the same. I really don't have to go a full hour, and I kind of don't feel like I want to. Like, it would be nice to be able to get the recon shot, combo shot, and see what that is. But I also wouldn't be surprised if I didn't pull it off particularly well. And seemingly I need to sink the hole in the raise your rank hole.
Listen up.
Recon level 5.
That way it counts and liberates the planet / nukes the planet.
Multi-ball!
At this time, with a 4-ball multi-ball though, all I can really shoot are the ramps, so this multi-ball is fairly useless. Whereas I would much prefer to be able to at least make progress on killing other bugs. And we get the sound effects of bugs dying, but I don't know if we're actually making progress towards the bugs dying. Got like everything flashing on the table. I should have nudged. Yeah, there's still inherently that problem with the fact that pinball does not directly translate to a controller, and having to use a left stick to nudge and
Recon level 2.
and potentially a right bumper for a second button.
Let's go!
Bug, bug, bug! Pull back.
I don't know if I'm supposed to be hitting something or if I'm just supposed to be shooting.
Get up, you maggot!
see. Recon combo is all I care about, so
Here we are.
shoot the ramp, shoot the other ramp. Maybe just shoot the ramp again, even if it doesn't matter.
Pull back.
I'm at like 101 million. Definitely don't feel like I deserve that. Yeah, I think I'm done. This is kind of a great example of a lot of tables that aren't in this curation, and that's something that we have been missing and skipping over quite a bit as far as pinball. Is that there have been a lot of tables here that are just kind of meh at best, just not your
Congratulations.
not the thing that would interest me. There, I made it to the lowest of the high scorers. And yeah, apparently Recon Combo is fairly easy to shoot and I'm just not pulling it off. Then there would be Wizard Goals, and I would be as uninterested in that as anything else. Let's see, overall, we've got some either cheaters or people that have figured out some way to max out the score at 9,999,000,000, so on and so on. But then you quickly jump to 6 billion, and then by the top 10 you're down to 2 billion, and then by the top 30 you're below a billion and just at 100 million, which these are fairly reasonable scores considering my score was 100 million and I was not really accomplishing much. Yeah, if I'm in the 6,000th and 40th position, that there is a way, obviously, to improve your score up into the hundreds of millions. So 1 billion is believable, 2 billion is believable. Honestly, even the 9 billion is somewhat believable at that point. If somebody just had 90 times better a game than me, let's see.
Soldiers.
Now, playing this on a Wednesday, I am in the 28th position, and how many people have actually played it would be the interesting thought, because I think I'm probably an outlier for Starship Troopers as a pinball table. I think a lot of people probably do like it and do play it a decent amount. It may just offer a non-pinball experience for people who aren't super happy with a lot of the other pinball experiences. It might be an interesting counterpoint to that. There's 244 people that have played weekly by Wednesday. And then monthly, I'm in 76th position, which is way too high for the 21st day in the month. So while people are playing the game, they're not particularly doing that well. Like, that's obviously the case here. Because like people are getting like 50,000 scores and below. I won't even bother to scroll down, but at this rate it does look like there's at least 1,000 people who have played this in this month, and a lot of them have done really badly, which is probably an argument around the idea that that there's like probably some name recognition around this table, and people play it to check it out, and then they kind of quickly lose interest. Is there any real reason for the curved backboard other than to just make it stand out? No. And by having curved backboard like this, then that probably means that this is a piece of paper with some kind of curved glass or plastic in front of it, if not just paper alone. So I bet that cracks and peels very poorly. And I would assume that the LCD screen is actually flat. That it would be very difficult to curve that. The speakers being slightly angled would be putting them in the wrong position. The back arch is non-existent on this table, where you could have easily had a star field. Is there anything on this table that I feel like surprised by or anything, or found more interesting? No. A bug being here and a spaceship being here doesn't really matter. Just spaceship at the top doesn't really matter. The magnet holding it at the B is weird and unnecessary, or that gate is weird and unnecessary. There's a sinkhole back there. We never even hit that. The offset of the table ruins a lot of things. The starred flipper adds nothing. The slingshot being out of the way because of the third flipper adds nothing. They could have easily just built in the edges more and had more decoration. The color palettes mean nothing. What's funny here is it's also red, green, and blue, whereas the standing targets are yellow, green, yellow, and red. And same is true over here, in that that's not connected. Nowadays, with modern technology, you just have one LED that changed colors based on what you hit. I would assume that's the goal. The loop going around here is not satisfactory. The pop-up toys, not satisfactory. The multi-ball starters, not satisfactory. That takes up way too much space. Let's see. Is there anything else to even mention? The guns don't do anything. This outlane is awful. Outlane just combining here and like into this. Yep. I am not satisfied with Starship Troopers, which I suppose is fine in the long run. This still is a great combination of tables that we were given as we're starting to see the end of pinball. And I guess Sega as Sega's pinball division did last till the end of the 90s, which is a little surprising. We've got 3 more to look at in the 90s and then a handful otherwise. Arguably,
Return to battle,
Attack
soldier.
from Mars here is a similar concept, except for instead of the humans being the bad guys, the humans are at least shown to be the somewhat good guys. And while this table is kind of boring because it's just the same shots over and over again in a fan layout, I feel like this table is way more playable and way more enjoyable by just sticking to some standard layouts and a standard fan layout of its ramps and shots. And arguably, if you were to just reskin this and put the spaceships and the bugs all over as pieces of toys, and then just reskinned the visuals and reskinned this, Attack from Mars could have easily been rebranded. Of course, this is Bally, not Sega. Is there another table that even comes close as a comparison? In a weird way, I kind of feel like Gorgar is almost as simplistic as Starship Troopers in its shots. So in this table, you're fighting Gorgar, one giant demon creature. In Starship Troopers, you're fighting brain bugs and aliens. There's really only a few shots on this table, but I honestly feel like this would be a more interesting table to play, because since the shots are few and far between, every shot really counts. we've also moved away from the idea of spelling the name of things. So like Gorgar is 6 stand-up targets. We don't have anything like that for Starship Troopers, which would be 7 plus another 7. It'd be like 14 targets. And then, yeah, I think Addams Family or Terminator 2, as far as movie tie-ins, are just way better. And yeah, I think Terminator 2 is probably a much better comparison as to what Starship Troopers should have been. You have nice, easy to see pop-up bumpers. You have several lanes that aren't just ramps. A lot of tables have made that mistake and kind of demanded that there be a ramp when a lane towards a sinkhole accomplishes nearly the exact same thing.
Sequence initiated.
I would say if the T1000 was supposed to be a surprise, then there should have been a reskin
Fire at will. You missed.
There should have been a reskin at some point to add the T1000 and focus more on that fact in Terminator 2's table. Also, maybe put some more voice lines from some of the other actors instead of just all Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is another table, though, that at least starts from a more traditional pinball layout and thus benefits from feeling like a more traditional pinball, even though I have this accidental hideous skin on the pinball.
Fire at will. You missed.
Took me a while to realize which one was the launcher.
Lock sequence initiated.
Yeah, this just feels more like pinball. Playing this. Now, arguably, maybe a classic electromechanical pinball fan would say that a table like this doesn't feel like pinball, but
Fire at will.
I think any classic electromechanical pinball fan has long since either died of old age or stopped playing pinball, and so the 90s pinball are the pinball that I think of when I think of pinball. And arguably Pinball FX3 type pinball with animations and digital only pinballs might be what the next generation of pinball players think of. Let's see. Do I want to sit here and play every movie table once? Yeah, I think I kind of do. It does certainly say something if I want to play pinball, but I don't want to play your pinball table. And honestly, I don't even like Addams Family as a table. I don't like the magnets in the table that screw you up. I don't like that there's kind of this empty space on the right side of the entire table and then kind of a cluttered space on the left side of the table. I don't like the missions because they're fairly too similar. I think you could remake a table like this and give it new video modes and new missions and it might work a lot better. Okay, where does one shoot for the extra ball? I think I have to hit that tight shot to the slight center left.
No! The extra ball!
Yeah, this is one of those tables where it's a struggle.
Why, thank you, baby.
Let's see, I just got the last standard goal, I believe, that I needed to get done,
Not plugged in yet.
which really just highlighted that I didn't play this table enough.
Keep the ball! I have a whole bucket full!
I think if I was gonna remake an Addams Family table, though, I'd probably focus on more elements from the TV show, whatever elements one could pull out from the TV show. More obscure, lesser-known characters, maybe.
Look, darling, just what we've been searching for. Perhaps it's in here.
But yeah, I still kind of feel like Addams Family is a little boring when you compare it to things like Star Trek The Next Generation, which, in all fairness, Star Trek The Next Generation had at least one season, if not two, to build its stories and modes around. But then again, Addams Family had the entire TV series to build its story around, if it was allowed to do that. I wouldn't be surprised if it was hamstrung to only be related to the movie. There's a great example of the magnet moving the ball. I would totally disable the magnet if I was gonna own this table. It's totally frustrating for no good reason.
2 out of 3.
And I'll skip Bram Stoker's Dracula because I really didn't like that one. I want to kind of look at Last Action Hero and see where we are. Here we can see the game is glitching. Let's give it Last Action Hero a game. That's funny. I did not hit the nudge button, but the table itself nudged. There's a shaker in this table, and it's actually shaking the table in the emulation. It feels like something I would like to turn off, potentially. Although I guess, if I think about it, that probably does mean I wouldn't want to add a shaker to any tables, even though that is a thing you can add. Arguably, having rumble and controllers is about the same. It's nice when you notice it, but for a lot of gameplay, it's underused and maybe even detrimental. But also, there's a slight difference between playing pinball and holding a controller, in the sense that if you have sensitive enough fingers, you actually would be feeling the table and the ball rolling anyway, so adding a shaker or a rumble feature gets in the way of that. Multi-ball ready.
Ready.
Well, this is a crazy 5-ball multi-ball.
Next one now, girl. You saved my fur plenty of time.
And all I'm doing is trying to keep the ball in play. So, like 130 million. This really does go to highlight how the tables were getting crazy with their high scoring. I have no idea how to find Benedict, by the way. But we'll just keep the ball in play and just play a fun game without actually trying. 156 million. This is another one of those tables that feels like the audio is just not encoded right in the emulation. But it could also just be that the audio wasn't actually that good. Missile launch, smart missile. Was that a good time to launch the smart missile? Or was that a bad time to launch the smart missile?
Here's another explosion for your movie, kid.
And I'm just going quiet playing the table. And see, I don't know anything really about Last Action Heroes, a movie. I don't think I ever sat through it and watched it all the way through. And yet, this table plays way better than Starship Troopers.
Here's another explosion for your
And
movie, kid.
it just has a lot going on in general as a pinball table.
Cactus house ready. Cactus house ready.
This also feels like while you're doing a multi-ball, you can actually accomplish at least a few other things. Like every single ball drain there. 251 million just playing around.
You're taking out the flag.
Still wish whenever I got a free credit or match that meant
I'll
something.
be back.
If anything, that probably should be the Hall of Fame score. Like, I didn't mean to do that. Is just how many credits one has won. That would be a fine way to calculate a Hall of Fame score. I did get an extra ball, but apparently I still needed the score thing bonus.
Welcome,
Interesting. So, is there any other tables we want to look at, as we were supposed to be playing Starship Troopers and I lost interest in that as like a comparison? Not really. Like, if there was a little bit more time, I might play more Star Trek or Theater of Magic or Junkyard. I could see cycling between those tables quite a bit. You could almost make an
Donuts,
argument
the stuff dreams are made of.
as far as like Safecracker. Like Safecracker is a pretty terrible table, but I almost wonder if there aren't more shots here, or at least better shots. You have a narrow size table. You have an upper flipper for these drop down targets that block an entrance to this. You have a spinner, which, yeah, Starship Troopers could have had a spinner. You have a sinkhole. You have 3 pop-up bumpers with 6 stand-up targets and 3 overlays and a sink target. And then you have a pushback that takes up considerably less space in that case. And then there's a loop that gets back to that way just on one side, which kind of highlights that you don't always need a loop on both sides. And then you have this one ramp that splits one way or the other way, and then a kickback on this ramp to lock multi-ball or drain towards this, and then the standard kind of launcher that brings it all the way up there. Yeah, arguably much more traditional and just better designed to play, even in Safecracker, while taking up less space. Yeah, is there any other thing that would be fair to compare? No, not really. So looking at the next row, we have Cactus, Championship, Pub, and Monster Bash. Seeing how Monster Bash doesn't have a pro mode is probably a very well beloved good game, and it might turn out that Cactus and Championship Pub are kind of bad. So we may have overall a rough time of it for the next 3 episodes, but then in comparison, having like 6 out of 8 of these tables be really good was great. Or arguably it was kind of rough between the 2 previous ones, where I think maybe 4 out of 16 of those 2 rows were really, really great tables. But yeah, we are slowly making progress towards the end. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.